Okay, so now let's apply, that theory to the charts. Again, we are only focusing on swing structure for now, and just to map it out, just the mechanical rules. We'll talk about how to combine, our other confidences together in a minute, and how to interpret things and how to build trade ideas. But for now, we just need to focus on the individual parts, nail those first, and then we can, start to bring them all in together. So here I'm on euro dollar on the 4-hour chart. Okay, I'm using the forex.com data feed, and I've brought price back using bar replay back to the start of October 2021. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the price action, with you up until the end of 2021, and then I'm going to give you a date range to go and do your own bit of homework. Right, try it yourself, see where the gaps are in your knowledge and your understanding, and then we'll go through that, and you can compare your analysis to mine. Okay, cool. So, like I was always saying, whenever you have a blank chart, the first thing you ever need to do is find where is my current active swing high, right, and my current swing low, because then you will know what swing range you are working within. And you build everything from there. Okay, so what can typically be easy to do is try and find or go back to an area where you've had like a clear impulsive move down and a clear pullback and a clear break, because that way you know that you're starting off in the right area. Because sometimes you can be a little bit too zoomed in and you might start mapping like your swing high and swing low. Obviously this isn't a very good example, but you can end up mapping what you think is a swing high and swing low, whereas if you zoom out you actually realize you're mapping internal structure. Okay, so you always kind of want to just make sure there's a nice impulsive move, and then you've got pretty high degree of confidence that you're mapping in the right place. Okay, so we have a 4-hour break of structure here, right? And then you can use over here these circles. So if you go to the icons over here, you can find a circle. So click this circle and then you can do that, right? So you can pre-save templates as well. Like I've got a 4-hour circle here. This will come in handy when we do multi-time frame analysis, because if you then go to the settings, you can go into the visibility and you can make sure that it only appears on the same time frame that you're looking at, okay? And you can play around with the style, the color, and all those things. Now, if you want to resize it, you want to basically click the left or right, doesn't matter, and then you drag it like this, right? And you can play around it with it like that if you want it bigger or smaller, okay? So as we can see, we have pretty clear bearish trend. We have quite a sizable pullback, relative to the recent price action. It makes sense, right? We can see price come to the downside, it pulls back, we get a break of structure. There's your strong high. Price pulls back up into the strong high, but it doesn't break it. And then we get another break and close below, giving us another break of structure. Okay, so at that point, we would have this as our new swing high. This is our new swing low. Price pulls back, right? Obviously it doesn't break the high. And then we come down and we break and close below. So we have a confirmed 4-hour swing break of structure here. So I'm just going to zoom in a little bit, okay? So straight away, we know that this is our 4-hour, whoops, don't know what I've done there. Strong swing high. Okay, just gonna make the text a little bit bigger for you guys. All right, because in a bearish swing market, as soon as we get that break and closure below, we can look back and straight away we know that this is our high. Why is that a high? Well, you look for the highest point from, this should be the low there. From the highest point from where the low was printed to where it was broken, drag your box to the upside, right? And then that becomes your high. It's the highest point that went on to break this swing low, right? Again, we can put our circle here. Okay, cool. So at this point, we know where our swing high is, but we don't know where the swing low is until we have, a relatively significant pullback compared to the recent price action. So I will just move this forward, okay? And then we start to have like a pretty decent pullback, right, compared to the previous price action. So I'm going to be happy in this instance to mark this out as our swing low, and then we know that we can do this as well, right? You don't have to do this in live market, but it can always help you to know, especially if we get some more complex price action, just to know what swing range we are within. Okay, so I'm going to mark this out as our 4-hour week structure, okay, because we expect this to be targeted because it's a weak low, because it hasn't taken out the swing high, right? So we've had that swing pullback. This is the current range that we are trading within. So just like fractal structure, we do nothing until the high or the low is broken. So at this moment here, we have a break and close below the 4-hour swing low at this exact moment. So if I actually bring it back one candle, let's move this out of the way. At this exact moment in the live market, now the difference again, remember, between fractal structure and swing structure is because we need a candle body close, you have to wait for this candle to close. You have to wait for this 4-hour candle to finish printing before you can confirm that we've had a swing breakup structure and before you can confirm where the new swing range is. Because otherwise what can happen sometimes is price can move down whilst it's printing like this, and then it can come back up and close back up here. And obviously that wouldn't be a candle body close. So it wouldn't be a confirmed break of structure, and you would need to leave your swing high up here, right? But in this instance, we've had the break, we've had the close below, we can draw that as our boss. And now where's our new swing high? It's the highest point after this low was printed, which is going to be up here, okay? So now we can move this to the downside, to our new swing high, right? And then that becomes our new level, right? And we don't know where the swing low is until we've had what we deem to be a significant pullback relative to recent price action. As we can see here, right, that's obviously a sizable pullback compared to there. So we can mark that out as our swing low. Now let's see what happens next. Okay, so we have that breaker structure to the upside. So I'm just gonna move this out of the way. And now the swing trend has shifted bullish because we've had a break and close above the swing high. So again, straight away, as soon as we get that candle closure and the confirmed boss, where is our swing low? It's the lowest point that broke the high. So with fractal structure, we look for the nearest, but for swing, we always want to look for the lowest because we want to be conservative. In this case, the swing low stays in the same place, but this time, because this low, well, initially it was weak, right? But it went on to break the high. So now it becomes strong, right? So now, because the trend is bullish, our swing lows become strong lows because they are taking out the highs, right? It's a strong high. But we don't know where the swing high is until price has what we deem to be a significant pullback. So not quite convinced just yet. Let's see. Okay, now that's a pretty decent pullback, right, compared to the recent price action. I'd be happy to mark that out as my new swing high, right? And obviously this is weak because so far it hasn't broken any swing structure, okay? And that's the range we're within, and we do nothing until we see either a break and close above the swing high or the swing low. So now we get a boss, so we can, again, draw this on here, all right? And we get our swing breaker structure. Cool. Now, where's our swing low? It's the lowest point that took out the high. So I'm going to go a little bit quicker now, right? For the sake of time, we adjust our new swing range to here. What do we expect after a swing breaker structure? We expect a swing pullback, but it's not always going to happen straight away, okay? Now, as we go obviously through the lessons, you're going to learn all the confluence that we use in order to anticipate when that swing pullback may be starting and ending, okay? But for now, we're just looking at mapping out these swing highs and the swing lows, okay? So relative to recent price action, that's a pretty decent sized pullback. So I'm happy to mark that out as the swing high, right? We have that as our weak swing structure, so on and so forth. Now, let's see what happens next. Okay, so definitely having that swing pullback. Is this strong low going to hold, or are we going to shift bearish? We never know, right? We can never assume structure, but we just run with the expectation that strong lows will hold until they don't, right? That's the expectation we work with. So we don't have to try and second guess. And there we go. Then we get the confirmed breaker structure, we get the candle close above, and that bullish trend is continuing, okay? And now we adjust the strong low to the lowest point that took out the high after the high was printed, right? And that's why this becomes the new strong swing low. And then we pull back, and then we end up breaking it to the downside, okay? And now we've had our bearish boss. So this becomes our new swing high. Remember the highest point that goes on to break the low after the low was printed. This then becomes our strong structure. Why is it strong? It's strong because it took out the low, it broke a low, right? It did its job, and now we are bearish. So let's play price forward. Okay, that's a pretty significant pullback compared to the recent price action. So we can mark that out as our strong low, sorry, our swing low. But in this case, it's weak. Why is it weak? Because it's failed to take out the strong high, right? I'm gonna go a little bit quicker if I can. And then again, we do nothing until either the low or high is broken. We don't have a break yet. Why don't we have a break? Because there's no candle body close. So we do nothing just yet. The swing high and low remains in its place. And then we finally get the break and close below. So that's when we get our true swing breaker structure, right? Now, where's the highest point that took out this low? Again, if you're ever confused, draw a box from the low to where it's broken and then drag it up. And you can see, right? This is our new highest point in that box. Okay, it's actually just here, I believe, yeah. And that becomes our new swing high. Again, you can put your pretty little circle. As soon as we have that break and closure below, in a bearish market, we always know where the swing high is. It's 100% mechanical. The only bit that's a little bit discretionary, right? At least the way that I do it, is we can't mark out where that swing low is until we've had a significant enough pullback, okay? So now, again, relative to recent price action, that is a significant pullback. So I'm going to mark this out as the weak swing low. All right, so let's see, is that strong high going to hold, or are we going to shift bullish? holding, and then yeah, just about get that break and close below. So we've had a continuation of the bearish trend here, right? Okay, cool. So highest point that broke out the low, we can mark it here and beyond. Just do a couple more examples and then I'll give you guys some homework to do. All right, and then we move down. Okay. So here, this is kind of what I was hoping I was going to see, right? Is this swing structure? Okay, I would say, again, because I'm using discretion, so there's some room for argument here, but I would say relative to recent price action, that is not significant, right? If you look at all of these, that's more of a pause in the market. That's what I refer to as internal structure, okay? So I'm not going to refer to that as a swing structure or refer to that as a boss. Now, the reason why is because if price, if I call that a swing low at this point and then price breaks it, well, then that would have to be my new swing high. So then price breaks it and then broke that to the upside. For me, the 4-hour chart wouldn't be bullish because I'd just be expecting this, right? And that's why, for me, it's not really that significant. So I wouldn't refer to that swing structure relative to recent price action, okay? And that would just be a continuation of this one swing leg, right? This is all just one move. It's a bit of a pause, a bit of an internal pullback, and that's one leg. This would still be the strong swing high for me in this instance, okay? Again, just a pause in price action, just an internal pullback. That's not significant relative to the recent price action. So for me, this is all one leg, okay? Now we've got more of you see, relative to the recent price action, now I can put my pretty little gray circle on the swing low, and that is me mapping out swing structure, okay? And that's the large swing range we're gonna be in, okay? So sometimes you'll get kind of tight ranges, and sometimes you'll get larger ones. It is what it is. As volatility picks up and changes, that's just the nature of the market, okay? Now, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just move this on a little bit quick and I'll get to the end of 2021 and then I'll give you guys a bit more homework. So don't get a break and close below yet. And then we get it, right? So now you can move this down to here, get a break and close below, and then boom, that's your new swing high there, right? And then there we go, okay? Cool. So what I'm going to do, just want this video to go on for hours because you guys probably get it. I'm going to, let's say, take this onwards from now. So this is the 22nd of November 2021. I would say go to the end of, let's say, the end of March, right? So do to the 1st of April 2022. And then what I'll do is I'll go through that with you guys. And then for any price action past that, I'll just put markups in the notes below the video, okay? So pause the video now, you guys go away and do that, and then come and compare back. Okay, so hopefully you've done that to the 1st of April 2022, and now let's crack on with it. So we have price moving down. Again, that's just a bit of a pause in price action compared to recent price action. Okay, now this is a bit more significant. Let's map on our swing low here, and that will do, okay? Cool, so let's see what happens. No break and close above, so we're still bearish. A little bit quicker. I remember this price action is towards the end of the year. So yeah, we had horrible price action with super range bound for quite some time, stuck between the high and the low. Let's see what happens. Okay, and then we eventually get that swing breaker structure over here, right? So just gonna do this. And bring this in. Okay, so we finally got a break. Whoops. So that should be there. And then we finally got a break and close above the high. Now, at that exact moment that we shift bullish on the 4-hour chart, where's our swing low? It's the lowest point that took out the high after it was printed. So this can be a bit confusing. So this is where the box tool can come in handy because you draw it from the high, drag it across to where it was broken, right? Oops, and then drag it down, and this is the lowest point in that box, okay? After the high was printed to where it was broken, where's the lowest point? It remains in the place in which it was already at. But this weak low has now become strong, why? Because it broke the high, right? So now, excuse me, just gonna drag this over here to save that template. Now this becomes our strong swing low at this exact moment. The moment we get that break and closure above, this is our strong swing low, okay? Okay, that's a reasonably decent pullback compared to recent price action. So I'm happy to mark that out as my swing high here. Okay, we can map this out here. That's our weak structure. So we have for our bullish structure at the moment, do nothing until the high or low is broken when we're just looking at swing structure. Do we get a break and close above? Yes, we do. Okay, there's another boss. Cool, there we go. And there's our swing low, okay? So at this moment, you can obviously adjust this to be your strong low here. All right, so on and so forth. And then this is our strong high, weak high here, right? Now we've had a sizable pullback relative to recent price action. Remember, after a boss, what do we expect? We expect a pullback on that time frame, and that's what we've started to get. But what do we expect? We expect a strong low to hold, right? And maybe it won't, maybe it will, but we just run with that mechanical framework that we expect strong structure to hold, okay? Let's see what happens next. So we don't get closed below. Do we get closed below? Yes, we do. So now the trend has shifted bearish, right? And we've had that bearish break of structure. So where is the new swing high? When we look back, so remember, as soon as in a bearish market, as soon as we get the pause, we know where the swing high is. It's the highest point that broke the low after the low was printed. So drag it along your boss line, drag it up, the high stays in the same place, but it becomes strong. Why does it become strong? It becomes strong because it did its job. It took out a strong low. So now it becomes a strong high, right? But we can't mark out the swing low, the new swing low, until what? Until we've had a significant pullback relative to recent price action. Okay, that's pretty significant. So now I'm going to put on my pretty grey circle, and this can become the new swing range we are within, right? This is the new bearish 4-hour swing range. So let's play price forward and let's see what happens. Are we going to get a break of structure? No, we just wick it. We don't close above. We get another wick of it, so we don't close above. So it's messy price action, right? But we're still traded between this swing high and this swing low. So let's see what happens. Do we get a break and close below? No, right? So now we're just taking the lows and sweeping the highs, but we still have not had a confirmed swing break of structure yet until we get a break and close below. Are we finally going to get it? Okay, yes, we are. So the trend actually stayed bearish. It pulled up to the strong high. It did breach it, right? It attempted to, but it never got a break and close. Twice it failed, and then eventually the bearish trend continued. And that's why, well, this is a great example of why for swing structure, we want to see that commitment. We want to see, was there enough demand in the market, right? Was there strong enough strength to cause price to break and close above? In this instance, no, okay. So now we eventually get that bearish break of structure. Just gonna move this out of the way. Here, okay, boom. Now, as soon as we get that break and close below, we know we've had a boss. Where is the swing high? Well, remember the rules, and this is where it comes in, where it can be a little bit more complex. We draw our box from the low to where it was broken, and we drag it up, right? Where is the highest point in this box? The highest point you can put your circle on, and it becomes here, okay? So although the bearish trend, right, we had a swing high here, we had a movement down, and we pull back, and in theory, it should be a lower high, right? If the trend is going to continue. Well, the trend did continue because we never had a bullish boss, we never had a bullish close, and we continued the bearish trend. But how can the lower high be higher than the high, right? Because technically we've had a higher high. But this is just one of those tricky scenarios, okay? So the trend has continued, it has stayed bearish, but when we get that break, if price had that spike higher, yes, this does become our new high. So it technically is higher, but that's just the way it goes, okay? So I appreciate sometimes that can be a bit confusing, but this is the continued bearish trend, and that is our new swing range that we are within, okay? Cool, so hopefully that makes sense. But sometimes you get those complex scenarios where you have those liquidity grabs, where you have price spike higher, that the new swing high then can actually become higher in a bearish market, right? Let's see how this goes. Waiting for a significant pullback relative to recent price action. Okay, that's pretty significant. So we can mark on our new swing low, right? And then we'll just go to the end of this month. Hopefully you guys have done that with your homework. And then, yeah, there we'll have it. Okay. Again, just being silent because obviously it's a bit boring. We're only using swing structure. Obviously in the live market, there's a lot more here to analyze, but for swing structure, it's pretty simple. We're just waiting for price to break and close below either the swing low or the swing high. We're gonna get it. Oh, no, not quite. And there we go. I think we get it there. Yeah. So we finally get the break and close below. Obviously the highest point, I hope you guys should get this now, would be this level here. And then that brings us into April, okay? So I tell you what, I'll just do a few more examples just for the sake of it. I mean, if you feel pretty comfortable with this, I guess feel free to head on to other lessons. But if some of you want to have a few more examples of the head. I'll do to the end of April and let's see what we get. Okay, that's a pretty significant pullback compared to recent price action. Okay, so I should have had that there, sorry. At this point, as soon as we know where the swing low is, you can map out your swing range, right? This was obviously that swing breaker structure back here. So this was your boss. Right, that's the highest point. So this is the current range we're within. Price can do whatever it wants, right? It can pull all the way up to here, but if the bearish trend is going to continue, then price shouldn't break and close above that high. And that's the expectation. Whoops, just knocked the mic, that we run with price action. And then we get a break and close below, right? So on and so forth. So pretty simple stuff, hopefully. But yeah, this will become super powerful when we start to combine it with the other price action. And then obviously this becomes our high, the highest point that broke out the low. And I'll just do this to the end of this current month and then we'll probably call it a day. Okay. No pullback yet. All right, now I would say that's pretty significant compared to recent price action. I'd be happy to call that a swing low. All right, and then you can map that on and that brings us into May, okay? Cool, so yeah, swing structure I think is relatively simple. It's there or thereabouts mechanical. Obviously in a bearish market, the only bit that's discretionary, right? The way that I use it is defining what's deemed to be significant enough as a pullback. Excuse me, but as you learn the rest of the concepts that we use, i.e. internal and fractal structure and how to interpret it with swing structure, and also bringing in multi-time frame analysis, you'll realize that it doesn't really matter too much. Some of you will be a bit more aggressive and you only look for shallow pullbacks enough to be significant. Some of you will want to see very deep pullbacks and you'll be a bit more conservative. But I'll show you later on in this module that it doesn't actually matter too much because it's all about how you manage your expectations of price. That sounds like a bit of a riddle, but it will all make a lot more sense as we go through the lesson. So yeah, hope you guys took some value from that and I'll see you in the next one.